G'day, welcome to the video. We've had a lot of questions and comments over the years about the mounting of cameras like the GoPro camera to sport motorcycles, and particularly about where to mount these for the best effect, where to get the best footage and that type of thing. And you're only limited by your imagination, but a lot of that is supported today by the advancements in the mounting systems. So there's a lot more options available. So we wanted to make this update video and show you some of the mounting systems or mounts that we are using and the different locations we're experimenting with to really get some interesting footage on motorcycle riding. So sit back, enjoy the video, and I'll break this down into the pieces that we've been experimenting with. It seems that most of the mounts that people use today are going to be traditionally placed in a situation at the front of the bike so that they can look forward. So we've experimented with a couple of different positions to get that particular view. One of the ones that we've been playing with lately, and I really like it, it's basically a mount that in this situation is attached to the top of the fuel tank. Now this is not a standard device here with the fuel tank. This is basically the base that you attach a pillion grip on. So the A-side pillion grip that we use has got this mount here that we use, and all we've simply got is one of these, I think the brand is P-U-L-U-Z, so it's called a pullers or whatever mount, which screws to the top there, and you can see the camera attaches to that. And that is rotatable. You can turn it around 360 degrees, and also gives you a bit of a lift and elevation. It's a lot better than certainly sticking on one of the mounts here on the tank and trying to get that view forward. So in this particular situation, if you set the camera on 4K 24 frames per second with super view, something like that, you get a real nice view of the front of the bike and looking forward, and it's not too impeded by the screen itself, even if you have a dark tinted endurance screen like we've got fitted to this particular one. It can be used for both the GoPro camera as well as the 360 degree cameras. So pretty good mounting system. One of my favorite locations is up here on top of the triple clamp. So this particular mounting location gives you a great view forward and brings the dash into play. So if you're on a racetrack and you want to get track footage and show the speed and the revs and things like that, then this particular location is particularly good. The endurance screen that we've got here is a tinted one, generally doesn't block the view too much. The sun shines through it on sunny days. So what we've used is a ram mounting system here to attach the camera. And the ram mounting system is quite simple. We have an attachment that goes into the steering head here, and it's got a ball on top, and then you get a little ball here that you attach to the camera, and all you simply do is with the attaching device here, just screw it up and position it wherever you want it, and then once it's there, lock it in place with the activation of that screw on the side. So a really solid mounting system. Now it looks like this when you buy them. You get this little device here which slides into the top of the steering head, and the rubber expands and it just wedges itself firmly. And it comes with a piece of rubber that you can cut off at different lengths just to make sure that it's a perfect fit inside there. So that's one location you can mount a camera, particularly good for the GoPro camera. Not so good with the 360 degree. We've tried forward and backwards, and to this day I haven't liked the way the footage turns out from that particular one. So there you have it, ram mounting system on the triple clamp. The other one of my favorite locations is here on the arm of the mirror. So it's simply a matter of clamping on some sort of mounting mechanism to the arm, and then aligning the position of the camera so that you get the view that you want. You get a great view forward from this particular location, particularly on racetracks or even out there on the ranges. You can also turn it around and you can look backwards, and you get a pretty good view there, particularly if you're using a 360 degree camera, like the Fusion that we have. Now, how do you attach there? It's real simple. We have these, what I believe are handlebar mounts for push bikes or stem mounts or something. So they accommodate various sizes. So the little rubber that comes with it is of multiple sizes. You can replace those, and then all you simply do is just place it over the arm and then push the arm forward and tighten it up, and it clamps on really securely. The good thing about these is it has a little button here, and you can rotate the alignment of the camera. It'll rotate around so you can align it properly regardless of the angle of the mirror. And what we've done on the one that you see here is we've got a little extension, and the purpose of that extension is to give it the vertical positioning so that the camera's actually straight. That actually matters if you're using a GoPro Hero 5 or Hero whatever it might be, which doesn't give you the ability to be able to turn the video so well. But if you're using a 360-degree camera like the Fusion that we have, that doesn't necessarily need that, because you can, as you do the post-editing, you can turn the video in there. So again, great location, very stable, good on a racetrack, good looking backwards, forwards, and I particularly like that because it doesn't change anything on the motorcycle itself. You don't have to stick anything on there. So yeah, give that one a try. There's another one here that we use if we want to get footage of, let's just say, the activation of the handbrake. So if we were showing someone, you know, trail braking into a corner and how far it would go, they could listen to the engine, watch the road going by, and watch the manipulation of the brake here. So that particular mount positions the camera here, and you just, you know, open it up 4K on wide view, and gives you great perspective of the activation of the lever. You can have that on both sides. We've played around with it on both sides. The brake lever is obviously the one that we would utilize more in some of our videos. The other thing about this particular one is this. If we're filming the brake lever, we would have the camera mounted or positioned back like that. We can simply turn that camera around, and you've got it perfectly positioned to record forward, and we've used that quite a bit as well. I particularly like that. The reason we went to that, where we used to actually have a bracket here in the front at the air intake part of the motorcycle, is we just didn't want to obstruct the air intake. So over here, you know, it gets it out of the way. It doesn't impede the movement of the handlebars or anything, and as I said, gives you good footage forward and backwards depending on what you're trying to catch. This is a mounting position that we've used quite a bit. So it's simply one of these attachments that just grabs a very large, you know, a fairly large diameter tube that was made by GoPro back in the day, and it mounts here on the frame slider. So this gives you some really good footage forward. So you simply hang the camera underneath it upside down like this. You get a view forward, catching the wheel and the suspension moving at the front end here. We've used this quite a bit, particularly if we're doing a fair bit of, you know, backwards and forwards, the flip-floppy type of range riding, and we just want to show off the front end a little bit. The only problem with this is, you know, it's starting to bring the camera down into the danger zone. It's possible, if you stuck it out too far, that it would touch the tarmac at big lean angles. So if you're hitting 60-degree lean angles, it would be possible to get the camera in such a position that it actually touches. It hasn't occurred to us because we tend to push it in and rotate it up a little bit. The other thing is, it positions the camera down low, and we've already broken 2 lenses in this particular position with rocks coming forward. Now I don't know if we threw them or it was people we were following, but this area here seems to get peppered by rocks, and as I said, we've broken a couple of lenses already. But great little location here for watching the suspension in the front end and bringing that into the view. One of my favourite mounting positions is this location here on the rear frame, where you get a view backwards. So basically, in this particular case, we would mount the camera position underneath and upside down, and it would look backwards. It would bring into play the exhaust, the movement of the rear wheel and the suspension, and just a great view of the landscape passing or disappearing in the distance. So in this particular case, you'll see we've used the ram mounting system. I probably showed this in the past. I definitely showed it in the last video, where we used to get the same view, and we'd mount it down here on the pillion foot peg, and the pillion foot peg was at the end of an arm. In this case, we've removed that, and we've now got this ram mounting system, which is way more stable, much more secure, and it's a better platform for actually recording. And we've just simply got one of these ram ball mounts with a hole in the center. Using the mounting positions here for the pillion foot peg, we just simply screwed it to that. And then all we simply do is we just use the little short arm that you can get from ram and attach it by just tightening it up. And like I said, super secure, really strong. It's out of the way. It doesn't impede with this. It'll get hit by the suspension, and it's out of the way of the feet. So like I said, one of my favorite mounting positions of the lot. Another mounting location I wanted to share with you was one we've been experimenting with for a little bit, and it's back here on the cowl at the rear of the motorcycle. In the traditional way of mounting a camera back here, you'd probably get a stick-on GoPro mount, then use a rigid camera mount that comes with the camera, and you just simply slide the camera on looking backwards, or you can turn it around and you can look forward. But great solid mount location, great footage of the track disappearing in the distance, but we wanted to experiment a little bit more with the forward looking part of it. So what we did was we got a ram mount, we've attached it to the rear cowl, and then using the ram extension we're able to get the GoPro Fusion kind of elevated, and the intent of this was that we could look higher and over the top of the rider, take in the forward part of the track as they negotiate corners, or on a range ride or something like that. Our biggest problem has actually been the vibration. As we get higher up, it vibrates more because the mount is actually attached to this plastic cowling on the top here. So we're probably going to need to find something much more rigid, much more robust. We actually played with a couple of different, formats of this. We originally used a GoPro, little extension here, with a brass, we called it a bipod attachment. So it gave it some rigidity here, but again, we just get that little bit of vibration in here, particularly because the plastic of the cowl is not quite as solid as we'd like it. But we're going to continue to explore that one, and I think moving it forward up here is probably going to be the most rigid place to do it. But as I said, it's an experimental location. You might find some way of doing it yourself, and I'd love to hear any information that you discover or ways of attaching the camera here with a bit more height. So there you go, a bit of food for thought. The final thing I'm going to show you is where we mount the control unit. So you might have noticed on the triple clamp here we've got one of these little screw-on aluminium GoPro base mounts. So we've attached this to the right hand side of the triple clamp just simply by putting a bolt through it and just a little base plate underneath to clamp it on. And we use that to mount the control unit up here on the triple clamp. Now, a couple of things about that. It's in good view, right? It's in a perfect position to see it. Why isn't it on the left hand side? Because you're going to activate it with the left hand. It was much easier to mount this on the right than the left, but we found that to be one of the most useful locations to actually put that there without sticking things on the motorcycle. So I particularly like it, and probably going to keep doing that on other motorbikes. Okay, a few different things that I've mentioned in there, like the ram mount system. So I just want to highlight that again. You can get these ram mounts and all of these different types of ball attachments, ones that have threads on them, ones with holes in them like you saw on the side of the bike, ones that attach to cameras, and various length connectors for those mounts. And highly recommend those. Really stable, really secure, super strong and easy to move and manipulate the camera position. The other thing that we used that we didn't mention here was these little thin tube mounts. They can be used in certain locations. We used to use those on the mirror arms back in the day, but then we shifted from those to what I think I referred to these as a handlebar mount or stem mount or something. And I'm pretty sure this is the GoPro brand. We bought these through the GoPro website. The only other thing we mentioned before, there's a whole range of different accessories for the GoPro cameras. The brand that we've been using, we've got a couple of different things, is PULUZ. We got those through Amazon. So there's a whole range of those. One last thing I just want to leave you with, and it's just a tip, something that we've discovered over the last couple of years, and that is we've gone and, we've got these normal stick-on GoPro mounting bases, and then we went and bought a whole bunch of these aluminium ones, and we can screw them here, and you can see them attached in a couple of locations. They work pretty good. The better one is the stick-on one that comes from GoPro, because we found that the connection in here is much more secure, the camera's more stable. These ones, we've had some issues with the wobbling of the camera. Even if we have really good mounting systems above that, they still get a bit of a wobble up. So we've just gone back to the stick-on plastic ones. So that's it. Like I said at the beginning, you're only limited by your imagination. If you have any suggestions for locations that you've tried or you'd like us to try, or you have any questions or comments about the different locations, I'd love to hear from you. So make a comment down below, and if there's anything new there, I'm definitely going to go and experiment with it and try it. So thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one.